Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Happy Tuesday. I see the numbers starting to pop in. So for those of you that are already in here, thanks for being so on time and prompt. And we are excited. We're so excited to be sharing the morning with you. I know Alicia and I tell you guys this every single month. This is like our favorite day. It literally is. It's like our birthday every month that we get to come hang out with you guys. Alicia, how are you? Good morning.
Doing good, Kevin. Happy to be here with you again.
Yeah, these are the best. So we're going to continue to let people pop in because I see them coming in, but we're going to go over kind of our normal housekeeping stuff. So if you come to a lot of these, I apologize for the repetition, but we want to make sure we always want these webinars to be a conversation with you guys. We always want there to be some back and forth and some opportunities for you guys to ask questions and things that you need. Now, we may not get to all of them because there are a lot of people on these webinars, but we do our best. So there's actually two options where you can kind of show us some of your input. If you look at the Zoom menu, one of them is a chat option. So you can actually look and just chat in. You can see we've already got a bunch of people chatting in. In fact, if you're in here, go ahead and pop in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from. I always love seeing all the different cities and places that you guys are hopping on to. So
Julie, what's up? I just saw Julie on chat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's a bunch of places, which is great. I mean, yeah, you can see it's flying. So this is the prime reason why we have a second option of where you can put things. The Q&A option is a great place if you have a specific question to put that in. And here's why, because look at the chat right now. It's insane. We don't want to miss your questions. So we are so lucky that we are joined. We've got some backup today. We've got Michelle and Alexa and Aaron who are going to be manning the chat, manning the questions. We will try to answer some questions live as well, but we want to get to everything. So if you have a really pertinent, important question that you think other people might have, stick it in the Q&A. It's just a lot safer place to ask.
So, Kevin, I learned something new this past week when I was on someone else's Zoom webinar. And most of you, as you're throwing things in the chat, thank you so much for interacting. But there's the default setting sends it to all panelists, which means that you're not going to be able to interact with your fellow webinar attendees. So if you want to change that drop down on your chat field to all panelists and attendees, that way, if you want to interact with your fellow attendees over the course of the webinar and comment, everyone will see those comments. Or if you want your comments to just be visible to the panelists, you can leave it there as well. But I never even realized that was the default setting.
Yeah, I've definitely done that where I thought I was talking to everybody and I was sending it to like one person or something like that. So. Well, awesome. Well, let's hop into it, guys, because we always want to be respectful of your time. But Alicia, talk through kind of what we're going over today.
Yeah, so obviously today we are talking about our screen recorder, but we're going to start out today talking a little bit about different learning styles. That's really the goal of why we do these webinars, the customer webinars. We want to teach you. It's not just because Kevin and I need to have our faces seen. We want to be the guide. So we're going to talk a little bit about learning styles today. We're going to give you a demo of the screen recorder so that you can see how actually it works. We're going to walk you through that step by step. We do have someone from customer support joining us today to help with questions. So if we do have some real technical questions, Aaron's going to be able to answer those. We're going to talk about best practices for the screen recorder because doing a screen recorder video is a little bit different than a normal video. Of course, we're going to show you some examples, okay? We're going to show you 3 different examples of some of the things you can do with the screen recorder. But again, those are just ideas. Really, the sky is the limit. And then we are going to talk about an update that is coming to the screen recorder. So that's where we're gonna kick it off today.
Yeah, so before we hop into that, I just wanted to do a kind of a quick reminder for those of you. You may have gotten some emails from us. You may see these coming in. We have made a really big focus this year to be consistent with what we're teaching you guys. And have that not just be in this webinar, not just be in emails. We're trying to tie it all together with these different monthly themes and content that we're talking about. And so I just wanted to kind of send you all a reminder that we are sending what we're calling our deep dive email at the beginning of the month. Alicia actually did an awesome video about the screen recorder. But what's so great about it and why I'm excited to tell you and just kind of remind you guys about this is because what we cover on the webinar is the same topic, content, some of the same things. There's crossover between that deep dive email and this webinar. So it's really good for you to have kind of multiple touches, multiple ways to work through that and learn some of those things. So if you do see those emails coming through at the beginning of the month, open them up. You can see we covered LinkedIn in March, some how to communicate during the pandemic in April when all of this really took off. And then lately it's been a lot more technology, a lot more feature heavy, right? With the mobile app, the Chrome extension, us doing the screen recorder, and we're actually going to keep that going next month too. But just know that some of these emails that are coming through at the beginning of the month are really, really great content. And then we will touch on a lot of that stuff on the webinar like we're doing today as well.
You know, Kevin, I know that we are about to launch a poll, but I see a couple questions in chat about past webinars. And yes, we absolutely have all of our past webinars on the website. So if you go to bombbomb.com/webinar, you can both register for our upcoming webinars, but all of our past webinars are on there so that you can go back and consume that content. So definitely go check out those past webinars.
And that's true for today. One of the questions we always get is, are you recording this? I missed a part. Are you recording this? Every time. Absolutely. We will always record that. And guess where it'll be? BombBomb.com/webinars. So you can find any of that stuff there. We'll plug that up there. Michelle and Alexa help run a lot of that for us, and they get it up there fast. So within a day, you'll be able to see all that up. So awesome. So let's go ahead. I'm going to launch this poll here. We wanted to know kind of where you guys are at with your experience with the BombBomb screen recorder. So you can see there's a handful of different options. Yes, I use it all the time. I've tried it once or twice. What's the screen recorder, right? So you're in the right place if you're asking that. What was that?
We're actually almost at it's about a tie for once or twice or what's the screen recorder. So I think that we probably have a good topic today, Kevin.
Yeah, I think we're hitting on something that's important. So I'll let this go for another second or two. We've got almost 60% of the vote. So thank you guys for participating so quickly in that. You can see we've got a handful of people that aren't even BombBomb customers yet. That's fantastic. This is just another added level of what we do at BombBomb. And so we're going to kind of go over that. So I'll give it about 3 more seconds. If you haven't voted yet, hop in and do that. And then I will show you guys what we're looking at results wise. So there you go. Oh, so barely the what's the screen recorder became the big one. So that's great. I'm so glad that you guys are all on here. We love the 70 of you that use it all the time. You guys are great. And we'll give you some definite new things to look at. But for those of you who have tried it once or don't even know what it is, man, we're going to give you a live walkthrough and break down a lot of that stuff for you. So I am really excited about that. So thank you guys for participating in that poll. It always gives us a good feel for it. So like Alicia mentioned at the beginning, I want to dive in here right before we jump into the actual live screen recorder on what are the learning styles that a lot of us have. Now, this is something that's not easy to simplify down, right? I mean, there's a lot of different things, but they have found that there's some consistencies. You've probably heard a little bit of this before, but I wanted to go over real quickly just some of those different things. So as you guys are starting to record videos and send them out, you can realize why these things are so important beyond the emotion, beyond the empathy and those things. So the first type of learner they talk about is auditory, right? So somebody who can listen really well, can hear a plan, and then can actually follow through and retain that information. They say about 30% of our population is an auditory learner. So I will tell you, I don't probably fit into this category as much as I would like to. I'm not somebody who can, my wife would probably attest to, I'm somebody who hears a lot and then it just goes out the other ear a lot. But there are a lot of people, and some of you may relate to this, that you can actually hear the instructions and be able to retain that and follow through with that. I myself really fall under this second category, the visual category. And they say this is actually the biggest section of learning styles that they've been able to narrow down. So these are people that need to actually see the content, right? Now we're using the different parts of the brain to retain that. The great part about video is that you can use a little bit of both of these, right? We're going to show you with the screen recorder how you can tack into that visual side of things so that people can see what you're talking about and you're going to talk them through it at the same time. So the last option here is a really interesting one. It's called kinesthetic. It's all about touch. Is that you?
Me.
That's awesome. So you can relate to it. So you like to get your hands on things when you're processing through that.
Truly, I never really can, like, especially if it's something technical, I've never actually feel confident that I've learned it until I've done it one time, until I've walked through it.
That's awesome. So you like to build that almost like muscle memory, right? Like actually
Yep.
doing it. And I think that's probably true for a lot of us. And ultimately what I want you guys to know is that all of these are important. I don't want you to start focusing on just one of going, oh shoot, more people are probably visual, so I'm going to really focus on the visual. Dr. Paul Howard-Jones, he's actually a specialist in neuroscience and education at Bristol University, has this great quote that I thought was really, really awesome, talking about those three different types. And he says it's actually the case that we absorb information better if it's presented to us in ways that engage multiple senses rather than just picking one. And I think that's one of the great reasons why the screen recorder is so powerful and is so important, because we are engaging a lot of different things. I mean, video in general, I think engages a lot of this. Now, can we have somebody literally reach their hand through the screen and engage that kinesthetic? No, but we can show them how they can do it on their own. We can help them engage in that sort of stuff. And of course, the visual aspect there, the auditory aspect is there. So it just really is engaging all those things. It's going to help people actually retain the information that you're passing on to them, right? Which is so important. We don't want you recording videos just to record videos. It's so that you're creating a better experience and helping them retain any of that information. So I don't know, how does that relate to you when you see screen record, knowing that kind of how you like to process, Alicia?
It's so huge, especially when and we're going to talk a little bit about demonstration, but you know, if you are in sales, even just the aspect of being able to walk through someone's first step or filling out their profile if you're selling a product, or if you're in customer service, being able to walk them through exactly what it is they're doing or what the problem they ran into. Or we see this with lenders and real estate agents where they're using it to walk people through a contract or something like that. There is zero way that you could ever replicate that experience in a plain text email. So it's such a powerful tool for making sure that the person that's consuming that information that you're spending the time to make, right? Regardless of whether you're typing out an email to try and explain steps to someone or turning on that screen recorder, you're doing the work, but it's gonna be faster for you. And of course, the retention is so much higher when they've seen it. I think we retain 95% of information when we watch it in a video as compared to 10% when reading it. So that right there is enough reason for me to tell you.
I'm in. You got me right there. I like numbers. So that was
right. That's it.
That's all I needed to hear. Well, awesome. Well, let's jump into this, Alicia. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share on my end. And we're going to Alicia's going to do a live walkthrough of the screen recorder so that you guys can see all the steps. And then as she's doing that, we're definitely going to touch on things we want you guys to see, know your options. I've already been seeing some questions about the camera size and things. We'll cover all of that during this walkthrough.
So give me just a second here while I'm sharing my screen. Gotta minimize everything. So I actually have Kevin's LinkedIn profile pulled up for the purpose of this screen recorder. This is one of the things that we teach for prospecting. If you watch the deep dive, we actually covered this, but because I'm using my screen recorder in the Chrome extension, it's accessible right here from inside of LinkedIn. So the Chrome extension is what we covered last month on the webinar. If you want the Chrome extension, Michelle, you can throw the link for that in the chat there, if you will, please. But the Chrome extension is great because it gives you the ability to use the screen recorder anywhere in a different Chrome browser. However, I want you to know that the screen recorder is accessible from anywhere that you are recording videos that is not on mobile, okay? For mobile, you can't use the screen recorder, but anywhere else, you're gonna have access to the screen recorder in the same place that you would record your regular videos, okay? So that's the first thing I want you to know. You don't have to go searching for it. It's going to be right there in the places where you are already recording your videos. So for the Chrome extension, when I click on my Chrome extension icon, that bomb there, it pops up this option. And it actually tells me, do I want camera only or do I want my screen recorder? So directly from here, I could launch the screen recorder. But I want to show you where else you can access it. So if I click camera only and then click launch recorder, now this is the BombBomb recorder that is popping up. You see me there on the screen. Over to the left of my center record button is another option to record screen. So anywhere that you open up the BombBomb screen recorder, you're going to have that option to record your screen, okay? Now, when I push on this record screen, it's not gonna start recording my screen right away. It's gonna launch it. So I have the open BombBomb screen recorder there. And as you see, this is a desktop functionality. It's why you have to do it on the desktop, not on your mobile. And then I've got these options, okay? So Kevin, can you see my video box? Because I know sometimes on Zoom, you can't see that video.
Yeah, I actually can. And I can see even the options below it and everything too. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not recording my screen yet. This gives me a chance to kind of get set up and ready. So for the purpose of this demo video, I am going to record Kevin's LinkedIn page. Now, this is a great way to get someone's attention, which we're going to talk more about. But if I'm Kevin and someone is prospecting me and I open up that email or that message and I see my LinkedIn profile there, that is something that is going to help capture attention. So great use case there, but I have the ability to drag this anywhere if it's blocking something. Same thing with my control bar down here. I can drag this out of the way. You also want to make sure that you have your tabs ready before you press record. So you have the option to either start in full camera mode, or I can go back to switch to screen mode. You also have the option to X out of your video, but I would not recommend that. I would encourage you to keep your video on for all the reasons that you record video in the first place. Them seeing your face is going to help them connect to that message. It gives you the ability to use tonality and body language and expression to bring all of those elements into your video. And then when I'm ready, all I have to do is press this start recording button, okay? It's gonna give me that countdown that you're used to with BombBomb. And now it is recording my video. So I've got my, Kevin, I lost my bubble and I don't know what happened.
It might be because you're in full screen right now when it's jumping to, go ahead and launch the recorder again.
Yeah, I'm gonna launch it again so I can walk you guys through that. I appreciate your patience while we do a live demo. It's always a little bit interesting.
It's always an adventure, even for us who use it all the time. We still run into these hiccups and things. So yeah, and I've been seeing, while you're loading that again, I've been seeing a lot of questions about the screen's kind of blurry right now. Her lips aren't matching up with her voice, those sort of things. Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff is because we are going through Zoom at the moment. So there's a lot of internet connection pieces. When you're recording on your own and just using the screen recorder, it is a desktop piece, like Alicia mentioned a little bit ago. So you're not reliant on a really fast internet connection or those sort of things. If you do see a lag or any difference there, please reach out to our support team and we can walk through troubleshooting that. That shouldn't be something that you see consistently. So just to kind of answer a couple of those questions I've seen pop up.
That's definitely the functionality of Zoom and screen share and all of that. Okay, so we're back to where we started. I'm ready to start recording. I've got my video box there. I'm gonna press start recording. It gives me that countdown that we're used to with BombBomb. And now it's recording my screen. I could go to another tab and pull up a web page. I can highlight information. I could, drag my cursor and do whatever you need to do. When you're all done recording, you're just gonna press stop like you normally would. And now you have 2 steps, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna say, okay, thanks, I'm done recording. But now it's going to give me this option where it's gonna pop right back into the video box where we started, right? So we launched the video recorder, we launched the screen recorder, and now it's popping that screen recorder right back into that original video box. So I can title it here, and I'm just gonna do demo is what I'm gonna title it, and then I press save. And then that video is actually going to be ready to go once I've pressed save, okay? So it's gonna give me the option now to either send it from email, and it'll just send it like you normally would from your BombBomb email, and it would have your branding and all of that if you have branded content or a branded template. Or you can also copy the link to pop it into Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, unconnected CRM if you wanted, or you can also copy for email, okay? This is a really important distinction. We talked about it last week with the Chrome extension. I wanna address it again so that we're really, really clear, okay? If you use the copy link option, this is going to put the link pretty much anywhere, okay? You can put that link into Facebook Messenger and it will populate the thumbnail. You can put that link into LinkedIn messages and it will populate the thumbnail, okay? You can also just take that link and pop it into an email and it would have the link, and you would want to be really specific, click the link. But the other option is if you copy it for email, that's going to actually copy that 3-second animated preview that you see there, and it will copy that entire piece when you paste it into the email, okay? The important distinction here is that the copy for email is HTML code. That won't work on LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger. Okay, so that's why you have those two different options there. But again, if you use the copy link option on Facebook Messenger or on LinkedIn private messages, it will populate that thumbnail anyway because they recognize the link, okay?
And if any of you guys have a lot of questions about what she's going over right now, we covered the Chrome extension extensively last month in this webinar. So go to bombbomb.com/webinars and look for our June webinar, which was all on the Chrome extension. And we cover a lot of that stuff too. So just so you know, if you want to dive deeper into that piece there.
So that's kind of the demo there so that you can see those steps as we walk through. Again, we do have support articles on there so that you can go through it slower if you need to. But I think the couple important things to remember there is, number one, it's gonna make you go through those couple of steps when you're launching the screen recorder. And then after you're done with your video, you're gonna have that double confirmation, both, okay, I'm done with my screen recording, then it pops it back into the recorder, you press save, and then it's gonna give you your next steps for how you wanna distribute that video.
Yeah, and we're gonna go through a couple of examples and things with the screen recorder itself, because I've been seeing a couple of questions of like, why would I use this? What would I do with this? So we're gonna cover those sort of things, but I do wanna hit on a couple of the questions as well. And Alicia, I don't know why, but your camera is not working right now.
I know, it happened the last time I did this on Zoom when I went and used a camera function.
Oh, did it? Okay, all right. Well, just so you know, I didn't know if you had seen it or not. So we'll keep going. We can hear you perfectly well. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. But I've seen a couple of questions of, can I access this in different places? Anywhere that you can record a BombBomb video, look in the bottom left corner of that recorder, and you'll see the screen record option. So you should always have access to it. Alicia showed us the Chrome extension where you can choose that before you start recording. Most of the other places, you'll actually hit record to like pull up your video recorder, and then you choose the screen record option. So just know that those steps may be a little different, but yes, you should have access to play with that in a lot of the different places that you want it to. I've been seeing some questions too about, can you show us how to highlight documents and do that? Really, that's not a BombBomb screen recorder feature. That's a piece that's dependent on whatever product you're using, right? So if you're using like Adobe Acrobat or something like that to show your document, those will have those highlighting features. There's not a highlight piece built into our screen recorder. So just keep that in mind. The screen recorder is going to show your mouse and those sort of things. So you can do the normal click and highlight stuff if you have that option. But just know that those are not pieces built into our product. Those are built into kind of whatever you're using to show the document, show the contract, some of those sort of things. And then the last question I wanted to touch on before we go into best practices and start showing you guys some examples is, I was asked, can you make these adjustments with your camera while you're recording the video? Yes, absolutely. So Alicia showed you where you can go full screen on you, or you can turn your camera off and do those things. You can do that while you're live recording as well. So just keep that in mind. Any of those adjustments that she was doing before the recording started are available. So I've seen a lot of different strategies on this, a lot of different ways that our employees will use this. Some like to start on the screen record and then finish on themselves. Some like to start on themselves and switch over. It really depends on what that message is, but that flexibility is absolutely there. So thank you guys for those questions. Those are great questions that you're asking. So we've already kind of covered the learning styles. We did the live walkthrough of this. Let's talk about some best practices. I think this is one of the really helpful things to hear. And Alicia, you already covered a few of these best practices as you were talking through it. But first and foremost, one of our recommendations is always keep your video under 5 minutes. You know, we tell you guys this a lot. Keep your videos short. Keep your videos short, right? This one is honestly for a more simple reason than most. From a technical aspect, it will work way better for your video if it's under 5 minutes. It's also good for retention, right? People are not going to watch a 30-minute video, a 10-minute video most of the time. So try to be concise with your information, but also from a technical aspect with the screen recorder itself, keep your video under 5 minutes. It's a really, really good rule of thumb there. The second one here, and Alicia, you mentioned this one, but have the sites pulled up before you record. It's almost like we prepared these notes ahead of time, right? Basically, the reason this is so important is we don't want you fumbling around in the middle of the video trying to pull up a website or get logged into something, right? That's dead space where people are probably going to stop watching your video. We don't want that to happen. Because there's such important information on these videos, we want to make sure they get it and can absorb it. So just make sure you have those tabs prepared as you're starting to record. Man, another one Alicia already touched on, keep your video on. We give you the option to take it off. 99.9% of the time, keep your video on. Yeah. The reason behind this, I think personally, I'd love to hear if you have a different thought behind this, Alicia, but it's psychological. You're providing value in this screen record. We want them to tie that value to your face. We want them to associate that content and that information with you, that you're the one providing this value to them, right? Not just some other realtor or other lender or other salesperson. No, you are the one that's providing it to them. So I think it's really important for them to not only hear your voice, but see you in that. I mean, that's why video is powerful from the get-go, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same reason why you guys are watching us on a webinar today, as opposed to us just sending you the information. That human aspect both is going to help with their retention, but that connection piece is really, really important for them to connect the dots with you as the person that is delivering this high value content. You want them to see your eyes, your facial expressions, all of that.
Yeah, it's just important, right? This is stuff that we preach on every video. It's still important on the screen record. Even though there's other stuff for them to look at and find value in, you are still important. Your face is still incredibly important to that. Number 4, be aware of what's on your screen. Alicia and I were kind of laughing about this before the webinar here. There's a lot of different levels to this, right? So initially, I want those of you who work in a lot of the industries that we work with, financial, insurance, real estate, mortgage, title, anything, you guys have sensitive information. And you have to be really careful with how that information is transitioned to other people, is communicated. If you have information that should not be sent over email, please make sure it's not on your screen. Yep. We don't want you to get in trouble, right? We want to make sure that you're doing it. So don't start sending documents that are incredibly private through our screen recorder, because that can open you up to a lot of different things, right?
And then the other side of this is on more personal, professional aspect. You want to make sure that there's nothing on your screen that could be offensive or get you in trouble, or just simply that you don't want people to see. Be aware of the fact that if you have Match.com pulled up in the tabs on your computer and you launch the screen recorder, that might be visible in the tab. So you just want to make sure that you are paying attention to what is on that computer screen before you record the video.
And one extension to this I want to touch on real fast too is this is not just recording your internet browser. This is not just recording a certain window. This is recording your whole desktop. So guess what? It's going to have your shortcuts on the side, right? It's going to have anything that you can see on your screen will be on that video. So just be very aware of that. We don't want you to have something up that you get or go, oh my gosh, I can't believe they saw that. Or there's private information, or there's so many different places that could go, but just please be really aware when you do the screen record, it literally records everything. So it will be on there, I can promise you. And the last best practice we wanted to put on here is pausing notifications. If you're somebody who has a lot of notifications that pop up on your screen, I know for us at BombBomb, we use Slack internally, right? For communication. I get tons of pop-ups and things. Well, I don't want to be halfway through a video and have some funny pop-up come up that I don't want on that video. Then I've got to start over, right? Or even just think about it from a distraction standpoint. We don't want them reading your notifications up at the top because there's funny stuff popping up. We want them focusing on what you're trying to teach them. So just something to be aware of, whether it's BombBomb tracking notifications, if you want to pause those for a second, whether it's notifications from other systems, emails, whatever it may be, your CRM. There's so many things that can cause those notifications or pop-ups on your screen. I like to, if I think of it ahead of time, it's a really good practice to pause those just so that they're not distracting during the video itself. So cool. Well, let's jump into some examples. Donna London, I want to give you a shout out because you straight up asked in the Q&A, why would I use this? So that's exactly what we're going to hop into. We're going to jump in and show you 3 examples, 3 ideas that Alicia actually covered in the deep dive earlier this month. So if you got that, you heard some of the ideas there, but we're going to show you real life examples of these.
And guys, this is the fun stuff, right? Like, we're going to give you a couple examples, but I want you to remember the sky is the limit on this for ways that you might use the screen recorder. So we're going to give you 3 examples and kind of cover the reason why you would do this. So I appreciate you setting us up for that, though. Why would I even do this? And the first reason why you would use the screen recorder is to present information, right? Maybe you are in sales and someone can't schedule time to have a live, a live walkthrough of your services. You could do that. You could pull up your presentation deck and do a screen recorder of it. In this example that we're going to show you, this is actually a teacher that's going over some information of what to expect. But really the win here is that if you cannot be live with someone, either on synchronous video, like we're doing now with Zoom or FaceTime or Google Meets or anything like that, and you need to present information, the screen recorder is going to give you the ability to present that information. You do it when it makes sense for you, and then you get to send it off, and they're going to watch it when it makes sense for them. A few of the reasons why I absolutely love this, one of them is that we already talked about this. When we watch a video, you retain 95% of that information as opposed to only 10% when reading it. So just the sheer fact of you using the screen recorder to present that information in video form rather than just sending that information off, they're going to retain way more of it.
All right, keyboarding. Well, hey, keyboarding class, we can keep on going remotely, right? Because of using Typing Agent. So if you need any help logging into Typing Agent, please let me know. Here is the schedule for Typing Agent for keyboarding, for the next 2 weeks. I've made these changes in Fax online. So due Friday is going to be 2 assignments with the @ sign and the $sign and then the % and slash symbols.
I love this example because he's a 7th grade teacher, right? And he's going, I know my students. I'm working with 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. How can I get them to remember this, right? I mean, I think it's so important. So now he's allowing them to read it. All the visual learners, the visual aspect of that are reading that and understanding, okay, here's my assignments, here's what I have coming up. They're also hearing it, right? It's auditory. So it's hitting on those different learning styles we talked about, which are so important at this age, especially for 7th graders, in that middle school range. Trying to work from home and learn from home has been tough for everybody, especially teachers, right? I mean, teachers have had to, I don't know many teachers that got in and were like, I can't wait to teach kids over the computer, right? Most did not sign up for this. And so they're adapting. And this has just been a really awesome way that they've been able to use it, to present that information and keep that connection with their students. One of the things he says earlier on in this video, I didn't show you guys, is, hey, I need to know how you want to communicate. Who needs to get these emails? How can I stay in touch with you? So that's where you're getting that empathy. That's where you're keeping and maintaining that relationship as well, which is really awesome.
Another thing that I love about this for presenting information, it addresses one of the problems that we hear from customers all the time, or questions that we get on webinars, which is, well, do you guys, like, how am I supposed to remember everything that I needed to say? Or, you know, can I have a teleprompter, which are not, it's not something that we offer. But if you're newer to video and you are feeling a little bit concerned about remembering all of the pieces that you wanted to speak about, or if you had 3 bullet points that you really wanted to make sure you addressed in that video, you have the option to do that with a screen recorder. You could literally just put those 3 bullet points on a slide or on your screen, and then go ahead and record your video as normal. But now you don't have to worry about missing those points because they're highlighted for your audience, number one. So you're really emphasizing them, and then you have the comfort factor of having those bullet points right on your screen as well.
Yeah. So before we jump into the next example, there's been a couple of questions about, is there an opportunity to pause your screen record video and those sort of things? Short answer is no. At this point, there's not. To kind of play on that, we do have that pause functionality in the mobile app, like a couple of you have mentioned, where you can do that. But the screen recorder itself is only going to work on your desktop, on your computer or a laptop, I guess, but not on a mobile device at this point. And there isn't the opportunity to pause yet. I don't know if that's been in the conversations. It's nothing that I've specifically heard. So I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath on that one right now. So the second one that we want to show you guys is all about demonstration and demonstrating things. So Alicia, you did this so eloquently in the email. Talk us through kind of what fits in that category.
Yeah. So you've got a whole bag of tricks here. So number one, if you are in customer support and you are needing to, help people resolve tech issues, well, demonstrating is a great way to do that. In fact, a lot of our support team uses pre-recorded demo videos to be able to walk someone through exactly the problem that they're having so they can save themselves a ton of time. Same thing if you're in sales, going over a product demo, being able to walk someone through step-by-step how your product works, or helping someone navigate through a website. Maybe you have a custom site you want to set them on. You're a real estate agent and you have a custom buyer site. You can use the screen recorder to walk them through exactly everything that they need to do. And my favorite piece of this is that it is a massive time saving, both for you and for the recipient. I want you to imagine, because we've all been here before.
Imagine a world.
Imagine a world where you have to type out directions in an email, right? We've all had to do this before. And it can be really frustrating for you, number one, as the person that's sending that message, to try and figure out how to actually show them as clearly as possible using plain text without showing them what you need to do. The screen recorder makes that really easy. The other reason why this is a time saver is that in a lot of cases, you can demonstrate something one time and use that video over and over and over again. In a lot of cases, you may only need to record the demo of how to do that thing, or how to fill out your profile, or how to walk through a contract, or set up your custom website. All of those things, you can record at one time and use that same video over and over and over again and personalize the rest of the email. Mm-hmm. So, and then the last piece is that it is a huge time saver for the person who is receiving it. Because if you had to get on the phone with them and walk them through step by step, that's great. But what happens when now they're going back to do this and they don't remember what you had said? Are they going to have to call you again? Are they going to have to try and, figure out how to do it on their own? So it just saves everyone a lot of time. You can explain things more clearly. It's easier for you to send it, and it's easier for them to actually consume that information.
Well, and not only does it save them time, it ups the experience for them, right? If I can get it clearly the first time, I am so much happier with my process than if I have to call somebody back a bunch of times. So you're really improving the way that your clients experience you and your business by making this easier for them. This is an amazing, I love this example. This is actually Brian Thompson. He works for a business called Open Space. And I just imagine, now that I've seen this a couple times, if he had to type out what they do, I might get it, if I'm being honest. But watch this video and you go, oh yeah, of course, that makes so much sense because you get that visual representation of it.
Hello, my name is Brian. I want to make a quick video about what we do here at Open Space. So in a nutshell, we help you capture pictures of your entire job site on a daily basis without disruption, essentially by putting like a GoPro-sized camera on your super or PE's hard hat, so that when they're walking the job site, we capture an image every half a second. And then even in a GPS denied environment where we don't have a GPS signal, we're going to be able to pin all of these photos to your 2D PDF floor plan.
I mean, it's like, duh, that makes so much sense. But if I heard what he just said in paragraphs, it'd be like, hey, there's a camera on a hard hat. I get that part. Like, I think I'm with you on that. So it just brings so much clarity to that, right? Now, I think that helps in a lot of different ways. For Brian, it helps with current clients, current people he's working with. This could also be great if you're prospecting as well, right? What if you send somebody you've never talked before, a cold prospect, this video, and they go, oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yep.
That would help us. If they're in construction, I'm sure their brain starts running with ways that would help them. And so we provide.
And if you noticed at the beginning of the video, he didn't say someone else's name. He said, it's Brian with Open Space, because this is a video he uses over and over and over again. I love one of the things I saw in chat there from my friend Julie in Massachusetts. She said that it's respectful of people's time because they get to have that understanding the first time, which is so great.
Yep, time is money, right? It's for a lot of people. So awesome. So the last one here, and then we'll go over a couple of quick things, and then we want to make sure we have time for our question and answers, but get more attention. Talk us through that a little bit, Alicia.
So this is one of my favorite uses of the screen recorder, partially because my background is in sales and I understand how important it is to get attention. Attention is the currency of sales. So regardless of whether you're talking about prospecting, which we talked about in the deep dive, or if it's just trying to get more attention in your regular messages, the screen recorder gives you a really, really powerful tool. And that is that you have the ability to pull up some information that is going to be interesting to the person that you are sending that message to. Now, for prospecting, I like to encourage you to either have their LinkedIn profile pulled up or their website. Why? Well, because it's very, very familiar to them. You know how if you hear your name in a crowded room, even if someone isn't talking to you, you're going to be drawn to it. Well, it's the same thing if you're using that screen recorder on something that is of significance to them. It's going to capture their eye right away because it's not just your face. It's something that they have seen over and over again, like their face or their website. Now, in this case, which is one of my favorite examples, this is a real estate agent, and he's actually using Google Earth to pull up their property. So again, if I am a consumer and I get a video from my real estate agent and I see Google Earth zooming in on my home, again, this captures my attention right away. So this is an incredible way to differentiate yourself, no matter what industry you're in. Using the screen recorder to capture someone's attention is going to, number one, deepen their interest. The likelihood that they're going to press play is way, way higher. You're personalizing it, right? You're letting them know right out of the gate before they even press play on the video. You are letting that person know that you are paying attention to them and not just wanting to talk about yourself, which is really, really key when it comes to sales. And then obviously the wow factor is huge. It's going to blow them away. We talk about this surprise and delight, and this is a really, really powerful way to surprise a client. So what our friend Jimmy is doing on this is he's actually doing a CMA for a client, a past client. He's letting them know the value of their home. But again, he's going to toggle away from Google Earth over to the actual data, but he is using that first thumbnail image to really kind of capture their attention and give them a visual representation of the things that he's about to talk about. So really, really powerful way to capture people's attention by just using the screen recorder on something that is of personal significance to them.
Hey, Carrie, it's Jimmy Burgess. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to give you an update on what's been going on at Adagio. We've had some changes there. So let me just kind of pull this in here and kind of get you to a place where you can really kind of see a little better exactly what we're looking at as far as in Adagio right now. One of the things, I'm pretty sure you know this, but A, B, C, D, E, F, G as far as the building numbers. And so what I want to do is I want to come in here and talk specifically about some of these that have sold recently in the last year to give you an update on your value to get you a better feel for where we are. So what I did is I just kind of broke down.
So, I mean, first and foremost, it's clean. He does such a good job. He's obviously played with Google Earth a little bit, knows what the buttons do. He's good at, we always talk about practice. Before you send your first one, practice it, right? Make sure you know the steps. Like we mentioned before, have your tabs ready, have the things ready, already pulled up. He's already got the numbers pulled and ready to go. So just a clean, awesome experience for the person. I used to work in real estate myself before I came to BombBomb, and was told all the time, you got to do CMAs for your clients. You've got to do CMAs for your clients. Okay, great. What the heck does that mean, right? Like, I know what it means at its core, but how do I do that? I've even gotten some from realtors that are like, hey, your home's worth this. And I'm like, great, thanks. That's all I needed to know. I don't really need to have a conversation now. But what I love about this is there's no surprises. He's showing you how he got to the number. He's showing you in an engaging way where we're going to retain that information. And I think what's so cool about this real life story is that Jimmy did these one quarter. He says he recorded and sent out 72 of them. So that's it. You know, that's a good time commitment there. But from the 72 emails he sent out, he ended up listing $11 million in properties. And he ended up selling 9 million of those properties in the next quarter. Yeah. I mean, I don't know the exact math, but what was it per email? Some insane amount of money per email that he made based on doing this sort of stuff. So it's not just us telling you it looks neat and it's engaging. It works. It created a lot of business for Jimmy as well.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with prospecting, which I would really, really encourage you. If you are in sales, which regardless of what industry you're in, I know most of you are in sales in one capacity or another, whether it's lending or insurance or real estate or tech sales. I really want to encourage you to try this with your prospecting and let us know, right? Just let us know if you get a different response from the traditional videos you've been sending for prospecting versus having that screen recorder with something that is significant to them pulled up. Let us know if it works.
Mm-hmm. And just like Alicia showed with the Chrome extension with some of those options, this is just like any other BombBomb video as far as how you can deliver it. You can share the link through LinkedIn. You can share it through Facebook Messenger. You can email it. You can do all of that flexibility that you have through the BombBomb system. You have those with these screen record videos as well. So I'm excited that we actually get to be the first people to kind of tell you of some of those exciting changes and the new things that are coming to our screen recorder. I want to tell you this first and foremost, none of it is process. The process we just showed you is going to be exactly the same. So I don't want you to go, great, I just learned something and now I don't even know how to use it again, right? But at the end of the month here, we're actually going to be rolling out a new look to our screen recorder. So we had a couple of questions earlier. Can I make the circle bigger? Can I see my face more? Well, that's some feedback that we've been hearing from a lot of people is I would like it to be a little bit more of me. That's going to be in this new update. So you can see the only changes are visual in this, but we wanted to simplify the process for you guys on recording. So one of the big changes we're going to is that you now have a rectangle recorder. It's not the circle anymore. It's an actual rectangle. You'll still be able to move it, drag it wherever you need to. To answer one of the questions I saw in the Q&A, there's no perfect space for that to be. There's not a better corner than others. It really depends on what you're showing, right? just make sure it's not covering up stuff that you're trying to show. That's going to be the most important thing as far as placement of the video. But this new one is going to give them a little bit more of you, which don't get me on that soapbox again. I'll talk your ears off, but just have your screen on. It's really important. And then you can see all the same features are there, but they're all built into one seamless bar. So now you've got the option to turn your camera off or turn it on, right? You've got the option to go full screen of just you and then shrink it back down to the actual screen record itself. And then, so this example down here in the bottom left is kind of pre-hitting the record button. The one I'm showing you live here is once you actually are recording. So you've got that stop button right there, so you can use it. So it's just a really, really clean way. This is based all on feedback that we've gotten from clients and customers like you guys. So thank you for sending that to us. We always want to listen, but we're always wanting to make sure that the product is working the absolute best way that we can for you guys. So we're excited. You guys won't need to do anything. We'll be launching that close to the end of the month here. I don't know the exact date yet. But just keep your eyes open. One of these times you'll log in, launch the screen recorder and be like, oh, it looks different. This is why. So you heard it here first. We're giving you a heads up on all of that. So last but not least, before we make sure we answer all your questions, and we're actually right on time today, Alicia, we're killing it. So for the first time, I maybe haven't talked too much on the webinar. But we want to give you guys some closing thoughts and maybe not the right word, but some homework. I want to challenge you guys to hop in and use the screen recorder. And the way that we want you to do that is think about a frequently asked question that you have to answer a lot. I know when I was in real estate, oh my gosh, almost every day I was answering the same question. Maybe it's a process thing. Maybe it's, hey, what to expect with the appraisal? Maybe, whatever it may be. Record one of those frequently asked questions. If you're in sales, I had a list of questions I got about BombBomb. Alicia, I know you can relate to this too, because we were working in sales together. Oh my gosh, answer the same questions about BombBomb all day, every day. Great. Record a video like Brian Thompson did. Hey, it's Kevin with BombBomb. I wanted to walk you through this. Record that video and have it saved. Have it ready to go for you to send out to somebody. And heck, if you get that question today, send it. Get it out to them. But it's a really great thing to have to really just answer questions seamlessly, build up that experience for your people, the clients that you're working with, and make sure that they are enjoying every aspect of this, that it's not a painful kind of exchange back and forth. So last but not least, oh, sorry, did you want to?
I was just going to say, if you are not a customer, because we did have a handful of people on the webinar that were not customers, we offer a free trial. And you can go onto the website, just bombbomb.com or bombbomb.com, BOMB, and you will see a try it for free button. And that's going to let you sign up for a free trial. It's a 14-day free trial. There's no credit card required. And once you do that, it's going to walk you through your first brief couple steps. And then you can go record a screen record video as well. There's not a big timeline before you can start recording videos. You can go sign up for a free trial right now and have your first video out the door in just a matter of a few minutes.
Yep. And the beautiful thing about our trial is we don't just like, hey, here's a little bit of BombBomb. It's nope. You've got BombBomb. You've got the screen recorder. You've got a lot of the stuff we've talked about over the last couple of months. So get in and play. But for our purpose today, play with the screen recorder. Use it first. We want you to get really comfortable with it because it's really an awesome, awesome tool. So last thing, and then we're going to dive into these Q&As. Alicia, if you want to start looking at that and picking out some questions. Next month, what are we covering next month? CTAs, call to actions. We've mentioned this over a handful of different places, but we're going to really dive into how do you use the CTAs that we've now built. And you can see there, it's this little banner that's actually a link on your video itself, which is really cool. You can put CTAs on a screen record video as well. So you can layer some of these things we're talking about. But we're going to go over best practices. We're going to show you examples of it. We're going to show you what to do, what not to do with CTAs and those sort of things. So make sure you join us next month in August. And keep your eyes open for that email that comes right around the first of the month. It's always the first couple of days. That's our deep dive email. It's going to be about CTAs as well. So it'll give you kind of a jump start on the webinar itself of what we're going to be talking about, some of those things that we'll be covering as well. So keep that open. So did you see any great questions in there, Alicia, that you wanted to touch on?
I did. Let's jump in. For those of you that have to run, We appreciate you being here. If you've got questions, throw them in that Q&A box. We want to make sure we get your questions answered here. Our team has been doing an awesome job. They've already answered over 100 questions while we were talking. So the first question that I want to answer is, someone wanted to know, what would you say is the difference between using this and just using Zoom? Which is actually a great question. So Zoom is a platform that is designed for this type of experience, the synchronous experience. Zoom is a webinar and a meeting platform, okay? So yes, Zoom does let you share your screen. It will, you know, let you go through the same things that the BombBomb screen recorder does, but Zoom is not designed for sending emails. Zoom is designed for having this sort of synchronous live experience. So yes, you could technically go to Zoom, launch a Zoom meeting, then pull things up that you wanted to share on your screen, okay? Then you would have to start recording that Zoom meeting. Then you would go through and show what you're doing. But once you're done with Zoom, it takes a while to process that recording. We are very well aware of this at BombBomb. And then once it was done processing that recording, all it would do is give you a link, and then you would have to take that link and put the link into wherever it was, the email you wanted, or if you were doing it over LinkedIn. So yes, it is possible to do it, but that's not really what Zoom is designed for. And it's gonna make you go through a lot of extra steps. Whereas BombBomb is designed for sending asynchronous video messages. That is what we're designed for. So it's gonna be faster and easier. Plus you get the tracking, you get the big video thumbnail. As soon as they open up that message, they're gonna see the compelling thumbnail. So that's, I would say, is the main difference. Zoom is designed for webinars and meetings. BombBomb is designed for video messaging.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of questions as well about you. Alicia, you and I have both mentioned you can share this in different ways. How do I do that? Well, it really depends on where you're wanting to share it. Like one person asked, can I text message a screen record video? Yes, you can. You're gonna have to record that video on your computer and then save it. Save it so that it's saved in your BombBomb video library. One of the great parts of our system is that it's all connected, right? It's all talking to one another. So that video library that's on your computer, yeah, it's on your mobile app as well. So then you could grab your phone, go into your mobile app, you'll see that recently recorded screen record, and then you could text it to somebody directly through that. LinkedIn was asked a couple of times, how can I share it to LinkedIn? Well, the Chrome extension is a great option for that. You could use your phone to share it if you have the LinkedIn app. There's a lot of different ways through the BombBomb system of how you can share those things. So it's hard to answer all of those questions specifically, but just know that there's a lot of flexibility. I would say universally, if you are looking to share videos in ways other than email, mobile app and Chrome extension are going to be the top two places to look for those things. If you don't have those, definitely download those. And then you'll see, we try to walk you through those steps and those options pretty seamlessly as well. So,
you know, it's a great segue to another question that I saw in there, which was about categorizing your videos that you're going to use often. You know, this is something that we talk about all the time, your ability to have a video library ready to go with videos that you're using over and over and over again. You saw when I was doing my screen record that once that video pops back in to that original video box, you have an opportunity to name it there. This is actually some updates we've done. Originally, you used to not be able to name your videos on mobile and on the Chrome extension, but now you can title all of those videos so that they're easier to find in your BombBomb video library. On the desktop version of BombBomb, you actually can categorize your videos into folders as well so that they're easier to find. But naming your video is going to be the best way to make sure you can find it again, right? If you have a product demo video, just label it product demo. And that way, whenever you want to send that off, you just search for product demo and that video's right there.
be aware, I preach this all the time, Alicia. I'm so glad you brought that back up. Name every single video you record. Just do it. You will not regret taking the 5 seconds to do that. At some point you'll go, oh shoot, I have a great video that's for this. If you've named it, you can find it. If you haven't, then it's just a date and a timestamp and it's gonna be real hard to find. But one thing I always like to tell people is be aware what you're naming it it is visible to the recipient of that video. When they go and they click on that, they will see the name of that video. So don't name it, if you're sending it to a client you don't like, video for jerk face, right? That would not go very well. You might remember to search for that later, but that would not go well if they actually saw that. So just be aware that that is external facing, that the recipients of these videos will be able to see those names. So just be conscious of that as you're going through it. One thing too, on that note, Alicia, that I just wanted to touch on is we've started doing these really fun things on Facebook called Tech Tip Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, literally at this same time as this webinar, we're going on and covering a lot of these different things, frequently asked questions. We're going through the email composer right now. But you mentioned, how do I deal with contacts? How do I organize videos? How do I do that? We've covered a lot of those. So go to our Facebook page as well, and you can search through our Tech Tip Tuesday videos and find stuff that's on there. We've answered a lot of stuff, and we actually brought on some of our customer care associates to talk through the tech side of that. So there's a lot of different places you can find some of those answers as well, just so you guys know other resources.
Yeah. So 2 other quick questions that are sitting in here, and then we're gonna say goodbye and let you guys know. The first one was, does the screen recorder allow me to choose a thumbnail that's later in the video I recorded? So all of your videos that you ever record in BombBomb will end up in your video library. And in your video library on the desktop, you do have an option to edit a video. Now, this is not the editing things that everyone asks for, like trimming or being able to add, logos and things like that. There's not that kind of edit functionality, but what this edit functionality on your video tab will let you do is it will let you change the thumbnail, okay? You could upload another image or select a thumbnail from somewhere in the video. But once you change that thumbnail, you lose your 3-second animated preview and you just have a static thumbnail. Let me tell you, your desire to have like a logo as your thumbnail or a crisp static image as your thumbnail, I understand why you want that. However, we have seen over and over and over again that animated preview generates much, much higher video plays. In fact, when we transitioned from a static thumbnail to that 3-second animated GIF thumbnail, we saw our customer video play rates increase by about 48% almost immediately. So the answer to your question is yes, you have the ability to get rid of that 3-second GIF and put a different static thumbnail there, but I wouldn't recommend it. You would have to have a real solid reason to want another image there.
Yeah. And the last question we'll go ahead and touch on, I see a few more popping up, but we'll just go ahead and cover Catherine's because it's been sitting there for a little while and then we're over time. So we'll go ahead and miss all of you dearly after we leave. But she was asking about improving your presentation in front of the camera, right? Do we talk about that? This is something we talk about a lot with BombBomb. In fact, what I would recommend for you, Catherine, is go to our bombbomb.com/webinars page. And in April, we did an entire, Alicia and Matt Mead, who's our visual storyteller here at BombBomb, talked all about being in front of the camera, different tools, lighting, cameras, microphones, all of these different pieces that you can use kind of at your at-home setup or in your office setup and talk through some of that. So I think that would be a really great resource for you to spend some time on as far as the on-camera presentation side of it.
I would also recommend, same place, going to bombbomb.com/webinar. And Angie and I did one back last year that is still there on the site that was all about working through the fear and the uncomfortability of being on camera as well. That was one of our higher attended webinars pre-global pandemic. So you have 2 great resources there for getting a little bit more comfortable. We have one that focuses on the technical aspect, on the lighting and the camera position and microphones and camera and all of that. And then we have one that focuses more on the social, emotional aspect of kind of getting yourself over that hump of being a little bit more comfortable. So we're gonna send you to go check out those resources. Thank you guys.
Yes.
So much.
And you know what? Thank you, Aaron and Alexa. And I know Michelle had to pop off at the end here, but thank you guys for your help answering all those questions. They answered so many questions. They're such an amazing resource.
133 questions to answer.
Yeah, no big deal in an hour. But we appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time. Like we said earlier, time is money. We know that time spent with us is valuable. We like to bring a lot of stuff to you guys, but thank you. Thank you for giving that to us. It's our favorite time of the month. And we're always here. If you have any questions, you can go to support.bombbomb.com. Got a great knowledge base there where you can search for issues that you're having. If bombbomb.com/webinar, go to our Facebook page. There's great resources in a lot of these different places. So thank you guys. Get out there, do some screen records, have some fun with it, and we'll see you next month. We're so excited.
See you next month, guys.
Bye, everybody.